Hi all, thanks for giving me this opportunity to be part of today's presentation. My name is WenwenLiu. I'm from China. My work involves data visualization, digital art, concept art, and games and animation. Currently, I'm doing my PhD study at Tsai University. Today, I'm going to speak about creative art practice in response to climate change. I explain how art transforms and frames new approaches to speculative, ecological, and sustainable futures. This includes three perspectives: my background, introduction, methodologies, and contribution. Let's move to the part 1, introduction. Climate change is impacting on all aspects of contemporary life. Many artists engage in art practice responding to climate change from different perspectives, such as artists that give attention to climate change, artists that give attention to environment for improving climate change, artists that use climate data give attention to issues. Based on this, I explored some influential artists' artwork to deepen my understanding of how visual art responds to climate change. Here are some examples of my research from these three aspects. Because of climate change, glaciers are melting. Danish artist Olafur Eliasson has been committed to studying climate change through art and electronic media and exploring the speculative future. In 2018, Eliasson cooperated with geologist Minnie Rosen to create Ice Watch, which was placed in the public square in front of the Tate Museum in the UK. Through this artwork, Eliasson made invisible effects of climate change become visible. At the same time, allow the audience to watch the melting process of glaciers through human behavior to think about climate warming. This thinking process sometimes makes people recognize their existence and participation in specific situations, helps people think about the relationship between nature and mankind, physical phenomena and climate change, and puts forward the problem of future responsibility. In America, extreme weather caused by climate change has led to many disasters, such as flood. Therefore, American artist Eve Moshe took 6 months to create this public art project, High Water Line, in 2007. During the whole art-making process, she held a one-on-one dialogue with local people to discuss climate change and its impact on their life in New York City. In 2012, after Hurricane Sandy flooded many of her marked areas, the prediction of High Water Line was validated. Consistently, Mosher's work is based on a hard research. She linked many problems through communication with others, machine learning, and in-depth learning to the decline of environment stability. Then she created a future space through art that allowed people to feel the impact of climate change, to reach a consensus on the action and achieve a possible bright future. According to Eurofreak's study, 25% of global emissions come from food, more than transportation 19%, or housing 17%. Therefore, she believed that a little change in people's doubts can promote public support for the new policy, which is carbon emission reduction. In 2020, Freak cooperated with Google Arts and Culture to create an interactive artwork, What We Eat, to test the impact of various foods on the environment. In this artwork, through artistic installations and data, Freak tells people a story about their emotional response, a real, concrete, and very personal story. This not only effectively interprets the relationship between climate change and carbon emissions, but also connects personal daily life with climate from the emotional level. Therefore, it can speculate the future of humans and climate change. So totally, in my visual research, I abandoned a clear research direction and enriched the art theory. All these artists regard art as a powerful means to respond to climate change. Although art cannot help people directly solve climate problems, it can help people face up to the problems, question the current situation, and explore the sustainable and speculative future. Specifically, through linking art with other disciplines, artists can explore materiality and deepen people's understanding of climate change. Through art to enhance people's perception and consciousness, artists can change people's attitude towards the environment and the natural ecology and shape sustainable values. Throughout to arouse people's thinking process, artists can help people look back on the past, face the present, look forward to the future, redesign the current life, and realize the future. Then, what is climate change? According to the report or official document I mentioned here, such as global warming of 1.5 degree, state of global climate 2020, human activities such as burning fossil fuels and land-use cause a large amount of organic carbon to enter the atmosphere in the form of CO2, leading to the atmospheric greenhouse effect, changing the balance of material and energy between land and atmosphere. This causes global temperature to rise, resulting in long-term changes to the climate. The environmental effects of climate change are worldwide. It not only impacts non-humans but also impacts humans. For example, in 2018, due to human activities, the Amazon rainforest suffered in a 3-week fire, which killed many species and trees. At the same time, a large amount of black smoke spread from Amazon rainforest to nearby parts of Mato Grosso, São Paulo, and Para. Especially the smoke fog coverage is more than 3,000 kilometers in São Paulo, which turned the entire city into a night and caused a large blackout. This fire has led to a significant surge in global greenhouse gases, which not only poses a danger to human health but also accelerates global warming and a series of associated consequences. Based on this, I figured out my research interests and focus. It is, although human disturbance seriously damaged the environment and led to climate change, I do believe that human disturbance can bring positive consequences to human life. Accordingly, I hope to find a successful and realistic ecological practice case as the focus of discussion of my project. To this end, I researched some influential projects. For example, this is the Eden project located in the UK. It restored an abandoned mine to be a famous tourist attraction. Now, it is planning new projects with the purpose of revising the ecological decline and bringing wildflowers back into British life culture. In this project, human disturbance plays a positive impact on the environment, forming a system of life and ecology consisting of forest species and other elements. This is the Kubchi Desert in China. Due to the disturbance of early human activities, the Kubchi Desert had degenerated from grassland into the 7th largest desert in China. Although forest vegetation can reproduce without human disturbance, the terrible environment of the Kubchi Desert has far exceeded the natural regulation ability. Therefore, the Kubchi Desert cannot realize ecological restoration through its natural system. On the premise of respecting the local desert system, local companies and the Chinese government use afforestation as the main method to repel ecological management of the Kubchi Desert. After over 30 years of efforts, they have successfully afforested 1/3 of the Kubchi Desert, promoting forest vegetation and other species to regain living space. In return, the Kubchi Desert ecological system provides people with valuable forest resources, economical resources, and food resources, developing a green and rich landscape. So currently, in the Kubchi Desert, forests, humans, and other species living together, redesigning and shaping the current sustainable ecological system of the Kubchi Desert. This forms a tripartite win-win situation. So totally, these two ecological projects shows that everything is interconnected. The negative human disturbance will have a serious impact on human life security and the ecosystem. The positive human disturbance can protect human beings, adapt and regulate the climate to achieve long-term future development. After research in these two projects, I'm more interested in the Kubchi Desert Green Project. It shows that people's positive actions may change everything and that people have the opportunity to create a better future. Its concept is very suitable for the research direction of my project. Therefore, I chose the Kubchi Desert as a specific research site for this project. In my project, I take visual research and aspect practice as research to respond to climate change. Art practice as the research object, focusing on how creative art in the digital media field can be used as a framework for understanding climate change and exploring sustainable futures. The research parameters mainly focus on whether creating a new visual research way to respond to climate change. Visual research includes interdisciplinary research and aesthetic research, focusing on the above artist's artwork I mentioned at the beginning. The purpose is to explore how visual art can impact issue-based concepts and ideologies through the presentation, representation, and interpretation as a framework for coping with climate change and reimagining society to sustainable futures. Art-based practice as research can be divided into creative art practice and participatory observational research. Here, I will highly introduce my participatory observational research. In 2020, I went to the Cooper Desert to do participatory observational research. I had a dialogue with local people to deeply understand the restoration process and its benefits of the Cooper Desert. According to Zhang Shiwang, as you can see from the picture at the left hand, who is the representative of the sand control staff. 32 years ago, the Cooper Desert was a dead sea without road, water, electricity, transportation, and medical facilities. There were 50 sandstorms in the Cooper Desert each year, seriously affecting the air quality of surrounding cities such as Beijing and Tianjin. Because of the bad desert environment, local people's houses were always destroyed by wind and sand, therefore increasing economic pressure on the residents. According to research from China government, the income of residents of the Cooper Desert at that time was less than 50 pounds per year. This makes me feel shocked, because the annual income of 50 pounds only can pay a few meals in the restaurants for Chinese people at that time. Therefore, it is an urgent task to restore the ecological system of the Cooper Desert. In 2002, Zhang and his villager was invited by the local company to plant trees in the Cooper Desert for £2 per day. Because they lacked the experience, many trees did not survive, which leads them to work hard without pay or reward. However, with the rich experience of planting trees, the survival rate of the tree is getting higher and higher. Zhang Xiong's salary has gradually increased from £2 per day to £11 per day. Through the efforts of Zhang Shiwu and other sand control people, the Cooper Desert has been successfully controlled for more than 6,000 square kilometers. Zhang Xiong's salary increased from about £200 per year to £11,000 per year. Because of this green project, 100,000 people have been lifted out of poverty. And also, the Cooper Desert system has changed a lot. From 2002 to 2016, the forest coverage increased from 0.8% to 50.7%, and the vegetation coverage increased from 16.2% to 53%. Sandstorms decreased from 50 times a year to 1 time per year. The species of animals and plants increased from less than 10 to 530. After talking with Zhang Shiwang, I and other volunteers planted trees in the desert by using the traditional method of digging and watering. At the beginning of the desert ecological restoration, this kind of tree planting method was very difficult for sand control people because at that time there was desert everywhere and the climate was very bad. However, at present, due to the maturity of science and technology, the local companies have developed many convenient methods to plant trees, such as using unmanned aerial vehicles to plant a tree. Therefore, this traditional tree planting method has evolved into an entertainment experience. I really like this activity because it can offset my carbon emission, and also the tree I planted in the Cooper Desert will always exist from now to the future. Its whole life will not only fix carbon, but also will release a certain amount of oxygen to participate in global climate regulation. If most people participate in these similar positive actions, I believe that It will bring great changes and even affect the future. Through this ecological experience, I do believe that people can disturb the ecological environment through their efforts, make it develop in a better direction and feedback to human beings in the next generation. By the way, I'm a person who is very sensitive to the temperature. If it is too hot, my emotion will be very irritable, and if it is too cold, my emotions will be very upset. But when I was in the Kupchi Desert, I felt so comfortable. I don't feel too hot during the day or too cold at night. Also, when I was planting trees, the temperature was still comfortable. Because of the climate warming, the temperature of some areas in the world has changed, such as in China, the Xinjiang Gaoyuan, the temperature increased by 0.35 degrees centigrade every 10 years, and also some coastal countries, they are in danger because of sea level rise. But when I studied the temperature data of the Kupchi Desert from 1959 to 2020, the temperature fluctuation is not obvious. This is very interesting. This proves that the Chinese government and the local enterprise carry out ecological restoration on the premise of respecting and protecting the desert ecosystem. Therefore, I prefer to use the temperature data from the Kupchi Desert as a material to show how people's active disturbance plays a great role in ecological restoration and climate change. According to Zhou Xinming and Shen Wenqiang discussed in Characteristics of Digital Media Art in their article Semiological Analysis of Digital Media Art. Digital media art is a form of artistic creation, covering a wide range, including game design, art design, modeling design, computer language, digital image design, and so on. It is comprehensive and multi-directional, showing the perfect integration of art and science and technology, and it is the product of complementary and mutual benefits between art and science and technology. And also, I have engaged in digital media art since I was an undergraduate. Therefore, it is a good way to help me to translate with climate change more effectively. Based on my visual research as well as the ecological experience outcomes in the Kupchi Desert, I decided to combine art and other subjects to visualize temperature data of the Kupchi Desert, telling a story about realizing a speculative future through people's positive actions. Through algorithm coding, I transferred temperature data into lighting colors. According to the research by Barbosa Escobar in the journal called The Temperature of Emotions in 2020, the 0 degree and 10 degree were associated with negative, low arousing emotions, while 20 degree was associated with positive, low to medium arousal emotions. Moreover, 30 degree was associated with positive, high arousal emotions, and 40 degree was associated with high arousal and either positive or negative emotions. So in other words, people's emotion and temperature are closely related. As the most intuitive feeling, color has the similar effect to temperature. This has been stated in the article called Effects of Color on Emotions published by Murray Harbin in 1994, and another journal article called Investigation of Human Emotions Response on Color by Gao Xiaoping in 2006. So consciously, I visualized the temperature data by color, aiming to enhance people's emotions and feelings about climate change. Due to my ecological experience in the Kupchi Desert, I believe that it is necessary to find a space where all species can live together, which will be conducive to our future and to cope with climate change at present. Therefore, through Unreal Engine, I created these 744 rooms and used the colors of lighting to create an atmosphere and remind people of their living space. From my perspective, we were living in a space called Earth. We were living in a space called home. After a busy day outside, we will eventually return to our own space and relax and sleep there. It will make us feel comfortable and safe. But in fact, this living space is composed of many things such as organic life and inorganic environment. To run the function of this space, Therefore, I created this artwork with lights and empty rooms, hoping to connect with people's daily life to convey the concept of a life community. Also, because the color of light is translated by the temperature data of the Kubch Desert, therefore, through this artwork, people can intuitively see the temperature changes in the Kubch Desert from 1959 to 2020. And then, they will find that there is not too much difference in the temperature of the Kubch Desert in the past 62 years, mainly because of the ecological restoration project in the Kubch Desert is on the premise of respecting the desert ecosystem, so it doesn't cause damage to the desert too much. Also, this desert ecological restoration project creates a sustainable ecological and economical system in which people live in harmony with nature. So totally in this artwork, I take a specific successful ecological restoration case as the research object, explore the impact of current serious climate problems and their serious consequences on human future development, and prove the possible use, interactions, and behavior through digital art. The purpose is to find and create a discussion space, develop alternative social imagination, encourage people to think, to find a sustainable speculative future conducive to the existence to all people. This artwork, Climate Coding, received invitations from some galleries and international conferences, online and offline. They all believe that climate coding shows a sustainable and a beautiful future for humans. Overall, my research has brought together critical theory and contextual thinking with visual framework. This method not only combines art with interdisciplinary thinking and expands multidisciplinary questions, but further explores how visual and creative narratives and metaphors engender creative transformation in the space of climate change. The power of climate education is brought into play through art practice. Creative intention combined with specific climate issues integrates personal and collective emotion, transforming individuals and audiences, shaping sustainable thinking with global societies. Thanks for giving me this opportunity to be part of today's presentation.